The sun was just creeping over the rooftops of my quiet cul-de-sac in Willow Creek, a sleepy suburb outside Portland, Oregon, on a crisp Thursday morning, May 12, 2024. At 68, I'd learned to cherish these early hours sitting on my front porch, cradling a steaming mug of coffee, watching the world wake up. My name's Henry Larson, and I've called this modest ranch-style house home for 42 years. Raised my kids here, buried a dog or two in the backyard, and figured I'd spend my twilight years rocking in this very chair, listening to the sparrows. The neighborhood was picture-perfect, tidy lawns, blooming azaleas, and that kind of stillness you only get in a place where everyone knows everyone's business. But that morning, my peace shattered like a dropped glass, and it all started with the roar of an engine. It wasn't the usual hum of a delivery van or the garbage truck's clatter. This was a deep, throaty growl that rattled the windows. I leaned forward, squinting into the dawn light, and there it was, a sleek, midnight blue Lamborghini Aventador gliding to a stop in front of my house. My son, Ethan, stepped out, his grin as wide as the day I taught him to ride a bike on this very street. He was 44 now, a tech entrepreneur who'd built a cybersecurity firm from nothing. That car? It wasn't just a car, it was a testament to his grit, his late nights, his victories. I stood to wave, pride swelling in my chest, when a voice sliced through the air like a siren. "You? Stop right there. That's my car." It was Margaret Voss, the HOA president from 3 houses down, storming across her lawn like a general charging into battle. Her face was a mask of fury, hands planted on her hips. "You're stealing it. I just bought that car last week." My jaw dropped. Margaret, who drove a faded silver minivan and griped about gas prices, claiming she'd bought a $400,000 supercar? It was laughable, but the venom in her voice wasn't. "Margaret, hold on," I said, trying to keep things civil. "This is Ethan, my son. He's just visiting." But she wasn't hearing it. She whipped out her phone, jabbing at the screen. "I'm calling 911. I have the paperwork to prove it." The absurdity hit me like a punch. Ethan, a man who'd negotiated million-dollar deals, stood frozen by his car, looking like he'd been accused of robbing a bank. Neighbors peeked out from behind curtains, their faces a mix of confusion and curiosity. Mrs. Delaney across the street gave me a puzzled shrug. Ethan tried to reason with her, his voice steady. "Ma'am, this is my car. I've got the registration right here." He reached for the glove box, but Margaret shrieked, "Don't touch it. That's evidence." And just like that, she was on the phone with 911, her voice loud enough for the whole block to hear. "Yes, I'm reporting a grand theft auto. A blue Lamborghini, right in front of my neighbor's house. He's trying to escape." My stomach churned. This wasn't just a neighborly spat, it was a deliberate attack. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder, and within minutes, a police cruiser pulled up, lights flashing silently. Officer Daniels, a young guy with a weary expression, stepped out and surveyed the scene. Ethan by his car, me on the porch, Margaret waving a crumpled piece of paper like it was a court order. "Officer, thank God you're here," she said, her voice dripping with fake distress. "This man stole my car. Here's the bill of sale." Daniels took the paper, glanced at the Lamborghini, then at Ethan. "Sir, can I see your license and registration?" Ethan handed over his documents: license, registration, insurance, all in his name, all matching the car's VIN. Daniels checked everything methodically, walking to the license plate, then the door jamb, his face unreadable. Meanwhile, neighbors were now openly watching, phones out, recording the drama. My home, my sanctuary, felt like a stage for a public shaming. After what felt like an eternity, Daniels handed Ethan's papers back. "Everything checks out, sir." He turned to Margaret, holding up her bill of sale. "Ma'am, this looks like a printed stock photo with some typed text. It's not official." Margaret's face twisted. "No, he forged his documents. He's a criminal." Her words were wild, desperate, but her eyes gleamed with something calculated. That's when it clicked. This wasn't about a car. I remembered the HOA notices she'd sent me over the years, fines for a mailbox that was too shiny, a $100 penalty for a weed in my flower bed. Each notice had a blurry logo, aggressive wording, and a seal that looked like it was drawn in a rush. She wasn't just a busybody, she was a fraud, building a kingdom of fear with fake documents. Daniels sighed. "Ma'am, filing a false police report is serious. The evidence supports his ownership. But Margaret doubled down, ranting about taking this to the HOA board and her lawyer. The officer made a note, suggested we could file a harassment complaint, and drove off, leaving us in a stunned silence. Ethan leaned against his car, exhausted. "Dad, I just wanted to visit. Now I'm a car thief." Shame and anger burned in my chest. My first instinct was to retreat, lock the door, and forget it. But that's what she wanted to wear us down until we gave up. "No, Ethan," I said, my voice steady. "We're not letting this go. Get the dash cam footage. Save the texts from yesterday. We're building a case." He looked at me, surprised but nodding. As we went inside, I glanced at Margaret's house. She stood at her window, watching, unashamed, already plotting her next move. This was no mistake. It was a war. The next day, Willow Creek felt like it was holding its breath. Ethan had to head back to Seattle for work, but he left the Lamborghini in my driveway, a bold statement. We sat at my kitchen table, mapping out our plan. We saved the dash cam video showing his arrival at 8:47 a.m., time-stamped and clear. We printed texts confirming his visit. The car's GPS log showed it parked at his Seattle condo all night before driving straight to my house. But I knew proof wasn't enough. Margaret's power came from fear, not facts. I needed allies. I caught Tom Whitaker, my next-door neighbor, at his mailbox. Tom's a retired structural engineer, a man who trusts blueprints over gossip. "Saw the circus yesterday," he said grimly. I laid out the facts. Margaret's fake bill, her 911 call, her history of petty fines. Tom nodded, thinking, her story's nonsense. That car's got a security system you can't bypass without the fob. No tow truck, no alarm, no way she owned it. He agreed to write a statement as an engineer, detailing why her claim was impossible. It was my first real win. But Margaret was relentless. She went door to door, spinning tales of Ethan as a shady city type, and me as a troublemaker. She stuffed a fake restraining order in my mailbox, complete with a forged court seal, warning neighbors to avoid me. Ethan called, furious. "Dad, this is hitting my business. A client saw a post about it online. That was her game, make the fight so painful we'd surrender." Then came the HOA email, an emergency hearing set for May 19, 2024, at the Willow Creek Community Center. Attached was Margaret's incident report, now claiming Ethan threatened her and that the car was moved from her driveway at 2 a.m. She included a blurry photo of a dark car. Cold V been anything. It was a lie polished into official-looking fiction. I spent the next 4 days at my dining table, now a war room. Ethan drove back on Saturday, and we built the binder, a 3-ring fortress of truth. Tab 1, a dash cam still showing his arrival. Tab 2, GPS data proving the car was never near Margaret's house. Tab 3, every HOA notice she'd sent me, their pixelated logos and fake rules laid bare. Tab 4, Tom's statement, a surgical takedown of her claims. A call from Emily, a young HOA board member, sealed my hope. "Bring everything to the hearing," she whispered. "The board respects evidence." Margaret sensed the tide turning. She sent 2 new fines, $200 for an unauthorized commercial vehicle, the Lamborghini, and $50 for a rosebush branch touching my walkway. Into the binder they went. The night of the hearing, Ethan and I walked into the community center, the binder heavy in my hands. Margaret sat at the head of the board table, smirking like she'd already won. About 20 neighbors sat in folding chairs, their faces tense. Margaret launched into her performance, voice trembling as she read her report, waving her fake bill of sale and blurry photo. She called me a disruptive homeowner and Ethan a threat. The room bought it. Board members nodded. Neighbors shifted uncomfortably. My heart sank. Her lies were loud, emotional, overwhelming. Then it was my turn. I stood, voice calm but firm. "I'm not here to spin a tale. I'm here with facts." I opened the binder, walking them through the dash cam, the GPS, Tom's analysis. Then I dropped the bomb. Certified HOA bylaws from the county, clean and legal, next to Margaret's forged notices. These rules she enforces? They don't exist. Her fines, her power, it's all a lie. The room stirred, eyes on Margaret. She leapt up, shouting, "He's forging my documents." Her rage was a bully's last stand. Then Emily stood, phone in hand, voice shaking. I recorded our last board meeting. I had doubts about her story. She played it. Margaret's voice sneered. I don't care if it's his car. He's cocky, and his dad's a problem. Just make it look official. No one checks. The room froze. Margaret's face drained of color. The officer at the back stepped forward, picking up her fake documents. Ma'am, forgery and false reports are crimes. Come with me. She didn't resist, didn't speak. The door clicked shut behind her, and the room exhaled. The board rescinded my fines on the spot. They launched an audit of Margaret's actions. Neighbors apologized, Mrs. Delaney hugged me, tears in her eyes. Weeks later, the HOA, now led by Emily, sent every resident the real bylaws and refunded years of fake fines. Mine was $2,800. Margaret pleaded guilty to lesser charges, paid a fine, and sold her house. A new family moved in, their kids playing on the lawn. Ethan visited often, his Lamborghini gleaming in my driveway, no longer a target, but a trophy. Willow Creek was ours again, freer, friendlier. Looking back, it's wild how one line nearly broke us. But truth, backed by receipts, is unstoppable. That binder sits on my shelf, a reminder, no bully, no matter how loud, can outlast facts. So what do you think? Was I right to fight, or should I have walked away? Have you faced a bully like Margaret? How far would you go to protect your home? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more real-life battles.